Good day to all Inderes TV listeners and viewers. Enento publishes Q4 results today, and on this video we will discuss that with the CEO, Jeanette Jäger. Welcome, Jeanette.
Thank you.
We're going to start the interview by recapping 2024. If you could go through the biggest pluses and minuses of the year.
Yeah, if you look at the biggest pluses and minuses for 2024, I would say that on the plus side we have the growth in BI, and we have the growth in BI in Finland and BI Denmark, Norway. Remember that Norway and Denmark are business insight. So good growth in those areas, in those countries. We also have strong cash flow. We have executed and succeeded with the efficiency program of the 10 million euro. I think we should also underline that we have executed and also launched a number of new services in both Finland, Sweden and Norway. When it comes to the minuses, I would say that it is, as also shared in today's report, that we have had a challenge with the development of the consumer credit business. Specifically in Sweden, we have with 2-year horizon 13 million euro downside in the consumer credit. Now in the end of Q4 in Finland, we could also say that we have had challenging macroeconomic development on the consumer credit in Finland. I suppose we will come back somewhat to the consumer credit, so let's do that and just continue. I would say on the challenges, we have had a good progress in the infra, which is now the infrastructure project, where we are consolidating our 5 infrastructure suppliers into one big project. That one has progressed well, though minus side, we will have to continue on that one into the 2025 for some time as well. Profitability pressure is, of course, I would say, the biggest challenge for 24, despite the successful efficiency program.
If looking at Q4 and the profitability, the revenue of course came down, but the profit levels came down quite dramatically. So what were the drivers here? Was it only due to volumes? And going forward, do you have any measures you can take to decrease the cost base, or is it just volume dependent?
Yeah, I would say that, again, consumer credit information has a big impact here when it comes to margin in Q4. That is also why we are continuing to underline sales mix. As we have shared here today, the consumer credit revenue is high margin, meaning when consumer credit revenue is decreasing at this level, it has an impact on group level on margins. In addition to that, I would also say that we have some data points which has increased in costs in Finland, as we know, also during Q4. Those are data costs that we can usually mitigate in price increases. But again, it is still hitting the margins. We have some production of own use due to the infra project, which is continuing. And last but not least, we have also put some money into the new services to get commercial traction of the new services that we have now developed in 24, and also many new services coming in 25.
Looking at the market environment in Sweden first, there will be a significant regulatory changes in Sweden this year. So now that we are a bit closer to those changes, has your view on how these will affect Enento gotten any clearer at this stage? Or how do you see them affecting Enento?
Well, I would say that we have given a guidance. We have given a guidance of a range of 150 to 155. It is a number of different regulations coming into play. I would say that you will not be able to find anyone who can clearly tell what that means for the total consumer credit market in Sweden. We are in the center. We are an ecosystem in the consumer credit Sweden. So in that sense, we are probably one of the best to have an insight on that one. Though uncertainty, we have still chosen to go out with a guidance on the revenue, and as of course then on the margin as well. Connected to your earlier question, can we do anything on the margins? Yes, we can. We can, and we will, of course, also now continue to do mitigations and efficiency actions, both on OpEx, and also we will make sure that we have cash. So, yes, actions are already in the planning and execution.
Looking still at Sweden, also the business insight segment is doing a little bit worse than compared to Finland. So could you open up what's behind this dynamic?
Well, there's a big difference between Sweden and Finland also in the business insight. We tend to kind of put them side by side and say what is the difference. In Finland, we have business insight services and products on a wider range. So we have very many different services, products, which you can be used and valued by customers depending on how the situation is. We have fewer of those in Sweden. That is one thing. Another thing is that in Finland, we have also many verticals and industries who are buying these services and products for us. In Sweden, it is mainly the financial industry. So when the financial industry with those products are in a downturn, of the need of those products, then it declines, while we at the same time can keep, maintain, or even grow in Finland.
Looking at Finland, then the business insight is doing better here, but what about the consumer insight in Finland? Is there any signs of improved activity at the moment?
I would stay cautious. I think it is too early to say. I would say that we do expect that the Finnish consumer consent would at some point increase, and that the Finnish consumer, believes in a better economy and development of it. And we do also hear signals that there is a lot of action going on in the credit sector in Finland, but we have not yet, and we are not yet able to put it into volumes, revenues, and share a clear opinion on it.
And then also finally looking at Denmark and Norway, the development has been a lot better here than in Finland and Sweden. So how has this stronger development added your appetite to increase growth investments into these areas?
To start with, we have invested in these areas, and I think that the investments we have done is also what you see has led to growth. Though where you can see that we have the real potential is still in our core markets. When you're looking at Finland, Sweden versus Denmark, we should remember that Finland and Sweden, that is our core markets, our main markets, that is a sizable part of the market, both in revenue and also, of course, in employee, while Denmark, Norway is a very much smaller part and also very much more connected to services, which isn't really scalable in the same way. The data market is also much larger in Sweden. So what we see is that we should expect traction and invest in that we're building what we call the second leg with the services that we are also now mentioning to build a future in Sweden, which is a big market, which has many data points available, and there is also a big appetite for buying the data, and the regulation is also good for doing that.
Then looking at the guidance, the revenue guidance, could you talk about the assumptions behind the guidance and what kind of scenarios does it include? What would need to happen for Enento to end up to the lower end of the guidance, and what about the upper end?
I think I will simplify it, and I would say it will be about the consumer credit market. It will be about the consumer credit market, of course, how that develops now in Finland. It will definitely be about how the consumer credit market in Sweden is adapting to the regulations. Then thirdly, if I may say something, then I would say that we are, of course, also having the transformation of the small medium business in Sweden that we are doing, which is affecting it. But those are the main points that affects the guidance and the profitability.
And the adjusted EBITDA guidance probably mostly relates to the volume development.
It relates to the volume development. It relates to the volume development consumer credit Sweden.
Yes. We could end it off with the financial targets. You have already 1 year behind from the strategic period, and now you have given a guidance for the second. And at the moment, it seems that the old financial targets are a bit outdated or hard to reach. So should we expect new financial targets anytime soon, or are you still sticking to the old ones?
To start with, the financial targets are of course connected to our strategy, and we believe in our strategy. We believe the strategy is the right one we are executing on now, on the services that the customers have both developed with us and are also sharing that they are finding those valuable, and the revenue are coming from those in connection again to what we call the core, our mature areas, which is very many times connected to credit and risks. So strategy stays. We also see that we have put that extra focus now on the guidance. As we see that there is uncertainty and that there's a lot of changes in our core market for Sweden, we believe that the guidance and the short term is in focus and makes most sense for the investors at this point. Then because of this uncertainty in the environment and how it develops, we will of course now monitor that and see what that leads to forward. But as said, focus on the guidance for now.
All right. Thank you for your answers, and I hope you good luck for year 2025.
Thank you very much.